All right, hello and welcome back to the 9th episode of the Canadian Bowler Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Caldwell, and today, again, as always, I have Daryl with me. Daryl, how's it going?
Hey Luke, how's it going? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. It's a little hot out there these days. It's almost starting to feel like summertime.
It is, absolutely. It's beautiful. I mean, I guess that leads us to the "we wish we were bowling" kind of stuff. But
Right. It's crazy to think it was. Yeah.
yeah, and I do miss it. I'm doing a lot of stuff outside, trying to clean up the yard and whatnot. But enjoy what you can, do what you can, right?
Absolutely. Alrighty, well, before we bring on our special guests today,
Mhm.
just got to cover a little bit of housekeeping. Thanks very much for the support, guys. We reached our goal of 300
I know 300
uh,
subs. Awesome, 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 awesome.
yeah, and I think we're over 400 followers on Facebook, so that's really awesome, guys. We really do appreciate it, and I know we got a lot of support on the GLOAT tournament on the last couple of rounds that we had going there, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
guess go ahead, Daryl.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, it was really surprising to see on those Facebook polls that we got between like 250 and 300 votes on every single poll, which means a lot. We want to make it as fun and engaging to people as possible, and it was nice to see that people just actually voted.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, I guess it's time to bring on our special guest today. This is the first time we've had more than one guest on at a time, I believe. And today we have the Watson brothers from Saskatchewan. Brandon and Carter, how are you doing today?
Oh, not too bad.
Hey.
How about yourselves?
Pretty good.
Good, good.
It's
Glad
good
to
to
have
see
you
you
guys.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. So I guess I'll start off with my regular opening question, guys. And who are you guys today? Let everyone know a little bit about you guys.
Oh, geez. So I'm Brad. It's my brother Carter, and we've been bowlers since about 2008 in Regina, Saskatchewan.
We do this and that on the side. We're both university students, and we work a lot on different boards in regards to lawn bowls. So we have a little bit of influence in our own club, and
Nice.
we like to promote the sport and bring as well as we can to help
That's great, guys.
create a good space. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know it's a little bit unfortunate that we're not on the greens, but I did know that you guys had a pretty decent program going from last year, and that's the B Cubed, if I'm not mistaken on the name. Uh, do you guys want to let everybody know what that's all about for people who might not know?
Sure. Yeah. So B was or is a rec league that it was made to introduce new people, a younger demographic to the sport, and get them out in kind of a fun and interactive and kind of social environment and introduction to the sport. And the idea started in 2018. Kind of did planning, launched it in 2019, and thanks to Fran Scott and the Nutana Club, we got a lot of good information from them on how they run their very successful rec league, and we were able to put B Cube together. And I think on our first year in 2019, we got 70 people out.
Awesome.
And so yeah, it's a weekly league that runs on Thursday evenings, and we come out and barbecue going with some good food and some beverages and get some bowls going and a little bit of friendly competition.
So I guess speaking on that, did you guys end up having to postpone or cancel this upcoming season for the B Cubed events, or what do you have going forward for that this year?
Yeah, so that was the really stuff going on. Right now, B Cubed is kind of in a state of being postponed, so we didn't really want to cancel it straight off, and we're just leaving it open so that if anything changes down the line and we could squeeze in maybe 2 or 3 weeks at the end of the summer, something like that, we have a little bit of room to work.
Yeah, it's because there's really not a whole lot to do this summer, so we want to try to keep at least something for people to possibly have it, and that may have an opportunity in bringing a few more people than we normally would be able to the sport. So we want to keep it open if possible, but of course safety is a high priority, and we're not going to jeopardize any of that in regards to.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it was unfortunate too. I mean, we were very lucky in that we had a really successful first year and to grow it for 2020, and then this kind of hit, and it's just okay. Well, guess we're gonna have to start from scratch again, but oh well.
Daryl, just so you know, I am still here. I'm just trying to reset my camera because it didn't look like it was working very well there. So you're muted, I think, Daryl. By the way,
I am. So, so for both of you, I know the B Cubed has been a big initiative for both of you. I guess moving out of this, where some places are starting to loosen restrictions and people are getting back out on the greens, what do you guys either most looking forward to, or what do you guys expect Bulls to do to try and bounce back from being off?
Oh, that's a good question. Are you talking more kind of like what safety protocols we're thinking about, or just kind of how do we kind of build back the sport to where it was and improve?
I think it's a little bit of both, because I know things aren't necessarily going to be the same going back. Everybody's going to be a little bit worried about what's going on, but yeah. How do we get back to a, I guess, quote unquote, new normal?
Yeah. Well, I think once you kind of get those safety protocols in place, maybe you're going to be seeing some changes to the way that games are played, and maybe jacks, for example, for the first little bit will just be kind of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough to see where that's all going to go.
I'd say probably this summer, even into fall, is not likely going to be anywhere near as close to it used to be in the past. But I think in the coming, maybe next year, I will be probably. It shouldn't be all that different in my opinion. We might have a few less members, but I think that things are coming along quite well, at least of what I've heard in the news. So hopefully that means that things can progress towards
Keep working on
a positive outcome and allow everything to go back to at least somewhat similar to what it used to be.
I know it's a pretty small part of the game, but what do you guys think whenever we get back out there on the green, before and after the game?
Yeah, that's a good one. I can see that kind of going by the wayside, at least for the next little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of everything that we can do to keep that stuff to a minimum, I think, will be helpful. But it's kind of unfortunate because a lot of the nice stuff about lawn bowling is the camaraderie and getting to the sportsmanship about it. So a lot of that stuff kind of has to change quite a bit.
Yeah, I would say sure. I would say that that's probably pretty true, because just the issues right now are not lending themselves nicely to that sort of contact. But I'd say in the future, I think we're going to probably get back to that sort of camaraderie, because knock on wood, I wouldn't expect us to have a pandemic every day. So hopefully we can get over this part and continue on with regular goings.
Yeah, sure. I know here in Ontario we have started to loosen up some of the boundaries. I'm not completely sure how it works. I know some of the stores that weren't open before are open now with people in the store and some precautions, obviously. What's it like out there in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, I think our provincial government has this 3 or 4 phase
maybe
plan.
5 phase. I think it's
5 phase, and I think we're just lining up for phase 3 in the middle of. So yeah, it just kind of we're opening kind of gradually. Right now, you can go to some stores, like you said, in limited capacities, and I think just recently we opened up some of the clothing stores and stuff like that again in limited capacities.
Mhm.
So things are kind of working their way back, but it's slow.
Still lots of lineups, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Have you guys maybe seen any companies or any businesses maybe doing things the wrong way? Like I know, for example, I don't know if it's just here in town, but I know at stores there's no lines and there's hundreds of people in the store because everyone just wants to go out and get lawn care stuff and fishing stuff and outdoor stuff. And I thought it was outrageous how many people were inside the store and how long the lines were inside the store. Is there anything like that around you guys?
Well, I haven't noticed a lot of that. A lot of our Canadian Tires in our stores, they have kind of that one-way traffic, so you can go down certain off, but certain aisles are only one way. So that kind of situation.
I haven't necessarily seen that, but Brandon and I have seen some stores that sort of are taking advantage of the situation in some ways. For example, charging obscene amounts for masks to go into their store, for example, is one of the things that has been going on, which is not necessarily what I think is a great idea, but you never know.
I wanted to ask you guys about your involvement in bowls as far as the family goes. Now, there's the two of you, obviously you're brothers, and you play with and against each other.
Yeah.
But you've got, I'll say, a much larger family group that plays, not only your immediate family, but extended. Who is part of that group, and what does it mean for you guys to have such a large family unit playing the game?
Okay, yeah. So immediate family, we've got obviously myself and Carter here, but we Bulls, Janet, and then my mom's sister Lois is Jordan Koss's mom, and then Bo Koss is Jordan's father. So the 6 of us bowl, and it's really great having such a big kind of family because you can go and practice together, you can set different things up. I mean, you always know there's going to be someone around to have a game with.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask another bowling related question here, and I guess I'll start with you, Brandon. What's your favorite bowling memories that you have?
Least and most favorite. Oh, that's a difficult one. Whenever I think of bowling memories, one that always comes to mind was the mixed pairs I played with Lois, my aunt, and it was just everything that was going on during that tournament. It was a really fun experience. It was one of those things where you look back and kind of laugh about it. I mean, I ended up having to exit the bronze medal game because of a leg injury, and it was just getting wacky towards the end of the tournament. But yeah, the people were great, and the situation was made the best out of, and it was just, yeah, it's one of those things you never forget.
Absolutely.
As far as worst, I don't know if I have a worst memory. I mean, I guess you could kind of say that this whole delay and cancelization of the season and stuff could be up there.
And what about for you, Carter? I'll ask you the same question.
With worst, because I had coming from a Kelowna tournament in which I was pretty happy with my results. I was able to beat Connor McGowan. That was my first national juniors, and that was when I was really, really young. I think 12, maybe even 10 at that time. And then I came back and competed in Fredericton, expecting to do hopefully do as good as I could, but I just kept on struggling in the tournament. But and it couldn't seem to get any sort of rhythm. But in the end, it ended up helping me figure out that mental game and get past the issues that are coming up, and just take it one game at a time and not a tournament at a time. In the end, it helped me, but it was definitely not one of my fondest memories of lawn bowling. But in regards to best moments, I think one of the best moments was actually my first regular nationals tournament with Keith Roney, where we ended up at the start, but we started getting our group together and we started bowling well. And in the triples, I think Daryl was at that tournament as well. We ended up coming back up and got to our the bronze medal game, which I'm very proud of, because that was the first national tournament that we were able to get to, and we ended up at podium's like potential spot. So we were happy to get there, and that was a very good experience, and I'm very happy that we were able to compete there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I've actually been at a few of the things that you guys were mentioning. I know I was at the mixed pairs that Brandon had to pull out of, so I got that whole experience from a third-person view. And seeing you guys at Willowdale for the nationals in the trips was really awesome as well. So growing up in bowls, and achieving stuff that you have in under 18s, under 25s. I know Brandon is, I guess, the current reigning under 25 champ. What are your goals down the road? Are you looking to just promote the sport and build on that, or are you looking further for yourselves and looking at higher and higher stakes?
For me, I think it's a bit of both. Like the major B cubed was kind of Carter's and my major push to help promote the sport, and that kind of came up due to this city closure. I don't know how many people kind of remember that from a couple of years ago, but the Regina Club was in a bit of sure if we were going to have a future.
Right.
And when we started really figuring out that we have to work to promote the sport so that these kinds of things don't continue to happen. And so I really enjoy working on that side of the sport and developing my skills and bettering myself.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely a combination of both. I really want to make sure that the sport can come up, but that's almost sort of a selfish reason, because I want to be able to have people to compete with and to people to be able to with and help me to become a better bowler in order to be able to go to these tournaments that are around the or like nationwide and international tournaments that are possible, like possibly something that I want to go to. So having more people around is better for me, because although it is more competition for me, it is also more competition for me. So I can help myself to get better and do what I want to in order to excel in the.
Speaking of having people around to get better playing against, question from the chat here from Mr. John Seitman. What has been the best lesson you've learned from bowling with the Patuli brothers? I'm actually going to add on to that and say, what about the whole Patuli clan?
Oh boy, well, there's been a lot of lessons learned. Like when Carter and I first joined back in 2008, Michael, Harriet, and Murray were kind of the main people working with the junior program. So right away we got to learn a lot from them. And oh geez, I don't know what would be the most important lesson you think?
Well, for sure, I know one of the rite of passage was when Michael was able to teach us about how to properly throw a drive and make sure that we're not flubbing it up the entire time. So that was a big big thing that, because normally you have to, it takes a while to learn that sort of skills, but if you can learn from people who already have that skill pretty honed down, then it's a lot easier to pick it up and add it to the arsenal.
Nice.
I know. I think as well, and this was kind of a funny thing that happened. Carter and I bowled with Michael and John in the U.S. Open last fall, and
Right.
one of the things that kind of came out of that was this whole mentality of keeping the team energy. Carter and I were we always, a little bit more subdued and, kind of congratulate good shots and stuff with our team a little bit more quietly. And Michael and John were like, let's keep the energy high, keep the energy going so that the team can feel that. John is the skip, he's on the other end of the green and could be able to kind of pick up on the energy that the three of us are having at the other end. So that was another big one too.
I think that's definitely a good one, Brandon. Like, I've definitely played on teams with people, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but like where the energy gets really low and the morale is really low, and then it just kind of like drains everybody down, brings everybody down. So if you can stay high, hopefully it'll help everybody stay up instead of going in the wrong direction, especially when a game's not going your way, because unfortunately, like we'd all like them to, they're not always going to go the right way. So
yeah,
that's a good point.
Unfortunately.
I agree with that 100%. I'm a very introverted person by nature, and learning those skills meant a lot on the green, just to not only portray how I'm feeling and let them know that, yeah, I'm in the game, but to bring them up as well. If you're always quiet, it can be tough.
what's like going back to our force team that we played with last year, Daryl and I was playing with three guys who maybe aren't the loudest guys out there on the green, with that being Daryl, Owen Kirby, and Jack Fowler. And between Jack and Owen, if I hadn't spoke to them, I don't think they would have said a word to each other behind the mat. So it was kind of a little fun role I had to play by just getting the guys talking and getting everybody excited, especially when we were doing well, right?
It's true.
It definitely showed with how it worked out. So,
all right, I want to move over to a little bit of this, which is photo time.
Oh, lovely.
So, I guess I'll start this one for Brandon, since that's him in the picture. Brandon, what is this photo, and what does it mean to you?
It was the U25s, so I had just won the U25s nationally, and it was a pretty unbelievable experience. Kind of one of those things that was a long time. Luke and I had some pretty amazing games in the U25s leading up to that point, and it was nice with the last couple of years coming up. It was definitely nice to be able to finally get that.
It's awesome. It is definitely an incredible moment for sure. What about this?
Yeah, it's. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask. I just moved to another picture, and I just wanted to know. This is something that you actually did talk about a little earlier.
Yeah. So that was the mixed pairs in Point Claire with myself and my Aunt Lois, and boy, that was that. Yeah, like I said earlier, that was one heck of an experience. I mean, Lois and I, we started absolutely on the bottom with just the or for a first game of a tournament. I think it was something like 34-5 or something like that. Just unbelievable. And we kind of find our groove and working our way up the ladder. But then I started to develop a leg injury, and we were able to get to the bronze. Halfway through the game, I had to leave the green, and I think David James Smith, he subbed in for myself to off, and it was everybody that was around, the people at Point Claire, the club, the competition. It was awesome, and it was one of my favorite memories.
All right, I'll throw this out to I guess both of you. Where is this? What is this? And what does it mean to you guys?
This is all the way in lovely California in the NEC with them all. My team started off with David James and Eric Gallipo, and then we ended up joining forces with Cameron LaFrenz as well.
That was a big step forward for both Carter and I, because that was our first international, and especially an international tournament representing Canada. So that was a really awesome experience.
I also had a question. So was this photo supposed to be a photo of you guys, or is it a photo of all the bowler tans on your feet?
I think it's
Bowler
likely
tans.
Supposed to be about the bowler tans.
Yeah,
so let's
definitely
be real
bowler
here.
tans.
Yeah, you have a bowler when you have white feet, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's all that people are looking at. Let's be real.
White feet and the burnt V on the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
All right, Carter, explain this photo.
my.
A man of many hats.
That was also at Juan de Fuca. That was around the mid part of the tournament when I was just sitting around and people just started putting some hats on my head. It was just the people that were around me, and then people noticed that I had 4 or 5 hats, and all the hats that they could find, and decided to make as tall of a tower as possible with I think that's Trevor's hat at the top.
That looks familiar for sure. Brandon, what's going on here?
Oh my gosh. So I think that was taken in Winnipeg at the U18s and U25s, and if I recall correctly, it was Anne-Marie Seitman took that picture, and we were maybe 2 greens away from each other, and I was looking over and I saw a camera pointing in my general direction, so I posed and made that face. Like, it had to have been only like 3 seconds, and I kind of walked off, and then shortly after, Anne-Marie Seitman found me and said that and I couldn't believe it. Like, it was just a fluke accident kind of that it happened.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I believe that's still my Facebook profile, like,
I think
glorious
so.
picture.
Yeah. And finally, we'll end off on this picture. What did it feel like throwing on that Bulls Canada jersey and playing?
Oh, it was an unbelievable feeling. Something that I've wanted to do for a long, long time. It was great to represent Canada in a international event, and it was great to be chosen to go to said international event. I enjoyed doing my best for for Canada and for myself in that tournament, and I was hoping that we could maybe bring back something home with in regards to trophies, but unfortunately didn't go that way. But it was just a great event, and so awesome to be able to compete there.
Well, and I think too, starting out, being coached, and the junior program in Saskatchewan or in Regina being run by the Patulis, there was a lot of success kind of around us all the time, and while you're really young and you don't really know what's happening nationally, but it was you hear all these stories about the players in your province and your city having the successes nationally and internationally that they did. So you kind of hope that one day you can make it to that level. So it was nice. It was really amazing to finally see that was starting to happen.
Alrighty, guys. I guess we'll move on to our final segment with our guests today. And this is a segment that I started a couple weeks back. It's our supporter showcase, but Daryl, I believe it was Daryl's sister, actually had a good idea. We can't have a video of our supporter. We're going to wait until we can do in-person interviews for this part. So we're going to do it with our guests for the time being. So you guys get to be our lucky first time goers here. So these questions are for both of you. And so the first one is, I guess we kind of already went over this, so we can reach outside of the sport of bowls. What is your favorite sports memory? You can use bowls if you'd like, but I know we kind of already touched.
Favorite sports memory.
Oh gosh. I'm just going to separate it side of bowls because I've already answered the bowls question there, or at least what I can recall. There's probably something else that I could have mentioned, but I just probably actually one of my favorites. The first time the Riders won the Grey Cup while I was alive. That was I'm a really big Riders fan, so it was awesome to go and see that they were able to pick up the win in the great, like, to have them win the Grey Cup when I've been watching them for years and they hadn't done anything. So it was awesome to go and see that and see the advancement in the team and see able to improve and grab up that the win.
Nice.
What
about?
Yeah, I think for me, I've always been a really big baseball fan, loved to play it, and being able to go to my first Jays game was really big because we don't have anywhere around here that you can go to a ball game. Awesome to actually go and experience what it's like in the stadium, see the energy. Yeah.
Rogers Center's a cool place, man, and it's definitely an experience, especially when it's a busy spot.
Yeah.
Anyways, our next question: what's your favorite place you guys have ever traveled to?
Question. Well, we haven't gone anywhere like super crazy, but I have really enjoyed. We've been down to the Bahamas a few times, and I have enjoyed that. Yeah.
One of my we visited is actually Kelowna. It's a beautiful spot down there. It was my first junior national event. There was a great pizza joint. Loved it. It's a beautiful place. There's lots of fresh fruit. The lake is there. Yeah, I had so many great memories there. It was a fantastic event, and I really enjoyed going there. It was a great time, and I hope we get to go again at some point.
That was called the Town Pizza or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was great pizza.
Our next question here, guys. What's your favorite thing to do in your spare time?
Oh, geez. Well, basically, when any time I have is filled by doing old man activities, like such as woodworking and I guess leatherworking now. So that would be how I fill my spare time.
Nice.
I like to spend my time doing things with friends, so that could be like hanging out or playing video games or as long as I'm doing it with friends, I'm having a fun time.
Do you guys have any superstitions?
I'm a big believer in karma, so I try to be as regular as possible. Just try not to be as in order, because I feel like if come back on me, so I don't want that to come back on me. So I'm not going to do anything bad. I'm just going to do everything I can that can possibly make things better. So that's the way I like to see things. So I just go into everything hopefully as humble as possible and make sure that it doesn't come back and bite me in the butt.
For me, I agree. Kind of the same thing with the. Additionally, I don't know if you call it a superstition, but it's I can't not do when I'm playing bowls, and I'm sure anybody who's watched me play will have seen that kind of chicken head where I have to like check my bias And I can't control how many times it happens. It's just sometimes it's once, sometimes it's 13. It just has to feel right, and then I can finally throw it. I'm sure
like
it looks hysterical.
I feel like but coffee or tea, guys?
Oh, definitely coffee.
100% coffee. Can't go wrong with a McDonald's double.
Fair enough. Would you rather watch TV shows or movies?
Oh, probably a movie for me.
That's really that's debatable because like some TV shows are movie level quality, so you get more content that's the same. But then also some TV shows are just not that same. So generally, I'd probably say I like to have I'd probably watch a movie, but I do watch my fair share of series to be perfectly honest.
Next one. Who is your celebrity crush? You can do male, female, both, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Celebrity crush. Honestly, if we're just going on crushes, I gotta go with one of the Hemsworth brothers because I can't remember what his name is. Thor. Thor is like so freaking badass.
I believe that's Chris.
Yeah, I thought so. Chris. Chris Hemsworth, like Thor is so badass. I wish I was him, but
There you go.
Yeah. Definitely Tom Cruise. Yeah. I mean, couch jumping, everything else. Definitely.
Coker.
Oh boy, I'm gonna get blasted for this one. I'm sure Pepsi for me.
Iced tea.
There you go.
I think I probably prefer Pepsi. But...
Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, what would be your dream job?
Well, I've been really interested in kind of taking classes in university for graphic design. So if I could end up working somewhere in graphic design, that would kind of be a dream job. Really, anywhere in there. So
if we're going unrealistic dream jobs, then clearly I want to be a rock star, movie star, actress. No, actor, not actress. Please. Oh God. And then what else can I be that's super famous? But realistically, I'm going through for actuarial science at the University of Regina. So ideally, being an actuary or some sort of actuarial manager, that'd be like the job that I'm going. That's a possibility in the future.
I could work on my dream jobs.
Just a quick one before I let you guys go here. John Seitman says, Brandon, you did a really good job on the Long Bowls Nova Scotia logo, and he would recommend you to anybody for anything.
Oh, thanks, John. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity that yourself and kind of gave me to work on that. It was awesome.
Well, guys, we really do appreciate you coming on the show today. It was awesome to talk to you guys. I know it's been a little while since we've got to link up, so it was nice to have you on. And thanks for talking to us a little bit about your Big Cubed event and some of your Bowls memories. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
I
really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, all right, guys. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
See you guys.
Bye.
Perfect.
All righty. Good interview. I've had a lot of fun doing our interviews lately. They've been really awesome.
It has been, and everybody's been very talkative and willing to answer questions. So
it was really nice to have the boys on too. I mean, met them back in the day, so it's nice to have them on, have a nice little chat, and see everything they're doing with their BQs and how much they love to promote the sports on around their age, who's young and can push it.
Absolutely.
So Daryl, what did you want to move on to first?
We could probably get let me just bring it up here. The GLOAT out of the way. Shouldn't be too long. So as everybody knows, hopefully everybody knows, we have a greatest lawn bowler of all time, or we, as we call it, the GLOAT for short. We're getting right down to the final nitty gritty pieces of it, where we're down to the final four. We've actually been really surprised by the engagement this last little while. We've had hundreds of people voting on every poll on Facebook. We'll have another one for this for the two matchups going live shortly after 12 our time. So keep a lookout for that on our Facebook channel. Some people might not like the results, but that's the way it goes with voting. The Australians had a really rough time, and to be fair, I shared out the polls to UK channels or groups on Facebook, Australian Facebook areas, New Zealand, all over the place. So there was definitely the availability for everybody to vote, but unfortunately, no Australians made it through. Only one New Zealand person. So for the final four, in our first matchup, we have Alex Marshall versus Peter Bellis, a legend who's still writing more and more to his book in Alex Marshall, and Peter Bellis, who isn't at the international competition level like he was in the past, but is actually the head coach of Bulls New Zealand, so he's writing a lot more on the other side of Bulls as we go along. And then down in our final one, it's David Bryant versus Paul Foster. So David Bryant, if you know anything about the sport, if you've seen anything about people who've done a lot in the sport, David Bryant is one of the top near the list. I guess his list of achievements is super big. And then Paul Foster, who is a Scottish legend as well, he's still playing. He's still adding to his. He plays with Alex Marshall a lot. They're such a dynamic pair. And what I'll do is I will just bring up the bracket here so you guys can see it. And we've got this final four. So 2 more voting sessions. We'll make the cutoff just before our next show, and then we will see that final ultimate matchup. So make sure you vote.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the polls are either already posted or should be posted by the end of today.
That's correct. Yep. So look for it today. Go out and vote. Make sure you share it. If you have a strong feeling that someone should win over the other, make your case.
Absolutely.
People listen, right?
Absolutely.
All right. What would you like to? Actually, I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
Knowing what Bulls is going through, and that we're actually starting to lower restrictions, and some people are getting back out. If you're on Facebook or social media, you'll notice that some other countries are really loosening their restrictions. You'll see people posting pictures of being out on the Bulls green. For you, what is your expectation for your bowling season and what you think is going to happen in Canada?
That's actually a really tough one. I know a lot of things have gone and been canceled at the moment. I realize it's still very early in the season, and they could, I guess, potentially become uncanceled. What I'd really like to see is clubs keeping up with their maintenance and making sure their greens don't, because that could happen really quickly, as we all know, especially after winter. If your green had a bad winter, they could maybe not be in the best shape. So if we're not taking care of them, which I definitely seen a lot of stuff out there. I know Don, and so I mean, I guess doing that in hopes that we can get back out on. A little risky to push things, and I hope that we don't push things, and I hope we do things the right way. The curve's definitely been flattened. I think outside of Canada, I think when you see the pictures and stuff, it's a completely different situation than we have going on here. I know our numbers aren't crazy high with the whole COVID thing, but still not low and not worth taking chances, especially with the Bulls demographic and maybe some underlying illnesses, and age might be a factor. Just making sure everyone that we know and love, we keep them safe. So I hope we get back out on the green, but at the same time, I still would not be shocked if it doesn't happen.
That's totally fair. If there's anybody out there watching, we have put some links in the description box below this video. Bowls Canada has rolled out a couple documents just saying on their suggested, stages to actually getting out in bowls and getting back to bowls. But I can't stress this enough. Don't look at one country and try to put it on Canada, and don't look at Canada and expect that to happen in another country. Everything is different. Every province is different. Every city is different. I know our city is still has things locked down, even though we can get out and do some maintenance on the green. We might be loosening that this week, but it remains to be seen. So be careful, take care of each other, be responsible. That's probably the best thing that we can ask for, whether you're out on the green or not. Don't try to push it. Don't be dangerous. Just be safe and be careful. Right.
And I guess selfishly, what I hope we can somehow save WOBA. I don't. That's probably the one thing that I think's about left to save with time restraints. So I hope that one can be saved. But obviously, if not, I completely get it.
I totally get that too. That's one of my favorite events in Canada. And I mean, selfishly, I would love to be out there competing right now, but I think we need to put some of that selfishness aside and just be safe. Just be responsible. Right? I don't know if you're ready for this. Do you want to look at these videos?
I mean, I'm probably not ready for it, but I guess now's as good a time as ever.
All right, folks. Everybody's the overwhelming request from, I guess, people that watch the show or send us emails has been, we want more analysis. We want to break down ends, to break down games, all that kind of stuff. So that takes time, and it takes some energy to actually go through and do analysis. But what we're going to do for today is we're actually going to go back to an under 25 competition that my co-host, Lucas Caldwell,
that's me,
was part of, and he was in the final, and he was actually playing against Cameron Lafrane, who is actually in the chat, I believe. So Cam,
Cam.
this will be sort of a flashback to you.
Before this starts, Dale, I do gotta say, Cam, I love you to death. You're one of my close buddies in the sport, but I still hate you for this game, and this game still haunts me. So, just before we get into that,
so just to preface this, we're not going to go through the whole game. It would take too long. Usually, when I do analysis, I like to watch the whole game, go through with the person if I'm doing it with the person, and say, here's the trends, here's what's happening. Knowing that Luke has already gone through, was part of this, and he has watched the video a couple times, I'm sure.
At least 2 or 3, yep.
I was actually there to watch this. I was behind the camera, kind of helping with some of the angles. So I know what happens. I've actually gone through this entire video again a couple times and made notes. You might not be able to see it, but there's a lot of notes. And I just want to go through with Luke and show kind of what I would do if I do analysis, and we'll have a discussion about some of the ends. So to start off, spoilers, Luke did end up losing this game in a very, very tight matchup. Cam did win. It took 25 ends, so it was actually easy to do some of the math where there was actually 100 bulls rolled for the entire game. For Luke, he rolled about 40% over the entire game, which is a phenomenal percentage. And Cameron rolled about 45%. So a 5% difference in what I would say are quote unquote effective bulls. So within 2 feet of where they wanted it. I had to take some liberties to say, I know he was going to cover the spot, or I know he was going for this shot, and say yes or no to what they made. So those numbers can shift a little bit based on my perception versus what happens. But overall, we great game, tough greens, I think you could say, right?
Yeah, I mean the pace was okay. But if I do remember correctly, there was a lot of movement in the undersurface of the green. So you definitely got some funny runs going down the green, and it was kind of tough to figure out, to say the least.
So that's fair. So uh, I have this cranked up to a faster speed. As you can see, we're going a little bit faster. So this is N2. I brought this up to show Cam had a very fast start. He started to rack up the points really fast in the first couple ends. The score, as we go along these first couple ends, does not show how well both of these players were playing. It's quite an interesting line how this game went back and forth. So I just wanted to pause it here. So when I go along trends, I wanted to show Luke that one of the trends in this game was short bowls, and bowls getting in the way, and not doing what you needed to do to give yourself a chance. So what I'll do is I will mark up this and say this bowl here. Oh, I will delete that. This bowl here causes issues. The shot that you probably wanted to make was actually back to this bowl here.
Right.
Right. Drag the jack back. You've got two back here. Not a problem. If you actually come up a little short, you would be in line with the jack here. And the worst shot that you could make is either coming up really short, which would be down probably around Cam's feet here, right? But getting in your way and causing yourself to go around, because this is a tricky rink, because not all the turns end up where you want them to go. You always want to think to yourself, and this is for every bowler, reach the head. Okay, everything in front is not going to help you because the jack generally 99% of the time moves backwards. So a 2-foot bowl in front, if the jack moves, is going to be a 3-foot bowl in front or a 4-foot bowl in front. You want to be reaching and you want to be up to the head, especially in this situation where Cam is sitting 2 in line, which could be tough to get to, and you've only got 1 bowl remaining. Any comment on that, Luke?
Well, now what happens at the end of this end, but knowing the way I would play with this setup, it's not obviously great, but being as early it is in the game, I'd probably be willing to take a shot at that jack. I'm probably not going to throw a laser beam by any means, but a little bit of contact on that jack, try to roll out 3 would obviously be ideal, but it looks like my bowl's right in front of the jack, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. So I think I'm almost forced into a draw situation. And just by what I see here, I would probably switch hands and Cam's bowl close to the jack and probably try and save 1.
So the funny thing is, and I kind of talked to Luke about this last night a little bit. Cam played around the clock, so he was playing on this side going up almost exclusively, and then on his backhand coming back. So it was a total backhand play. Only on rare occasions did he switch over, whether there was something in the way or the shot was just obvious I had to go on this side. And Luke stayed forehand backhand on the side that he was playing, so the farther side from us.
So the reason why I played that way is I remember I had the opportunity Steve McCarahan, Steve Santana at the NAC a couple of years back now, and they pretty much beat into my head that if one side of the green's working, there's no point in switching. So that's kind of what I've done ever since then, my whole life, I guess. It's just try to find something that works and keep on pounding it.
That's right. We'll just move ahead a little bit. Cam puts another good one in there. puts a wall up, but the issue is you haven't played that side, so you probably wouldn't switch over, right?
I mean, there's probably a solid chance I did, but I have no idea.
Now on this bowl, you actually do what you probably wanted to do with your first one, which is play a little bit through into the back. Okay.
Right.
Now we're on to end 3. So you did end up dropping 2 there. We're on to the next end. And Cam exclusively played short ends. Okay. So it was below medium, below the sort of the midpoint, closer to ultra short. And he played that all the time, and he placed his jack there all the time. So as you can see, we're fairly down. And I had to adjust the camera for that as well. But Luke, you're playing it okay. You played that same side, and you lock on your first one. Cam plays an excellent bowl
There.
and takes shot. Now I only picked a few ends to actually analyze and to look at. Okay, got a little bit wide there. That happens. Cam plays another really good one.
That shot kind of worked, but it was a little risky, so I had nothing in the back. I would have been down 3 if I pumped the jack and flopped it at the side there.
It was. And that's actually what I'm going to make. So Cam's next shot here. Just obviously a bad shot. Not something that he meant to be. He probably could have either put in front or gone to the back. Now, for your options, obviously what you were saying is if you would actually come right through here and say if you touch this and stay and nudge the jack, you could be down 3 out here.
Yep.
I think the choice that you made was really, really good. I think your options on this side that you were playing are playing just a little through the head, so you want to be reaching so that you touch this bowl and come in, touch this bowl and come in, and try to rest on here, and hopefully you end up somewhere out where this X is.
Right.
At worst, you nudge the jack sideways. You don't want to play right up onto this orange and potentially push the jack back, but you want to actually get onto there to get shot. And I think you made the right choice on this one. And you'll actually see what happens. Just the way that these bowls are angled. Okay.
Yeah, and just kind of roll in.
You get the chop in, you get the lie. Might not have got the shot, but you actually cut it down. And that's probably the best you could do without making some miraculous shot to punch and sit. Right?
Yeah, I think the only other thing there with me scoring points would have been throwing the bomb and trying to clear out too. But again, it's super risky if I just get the jack and my bowl doesn't go the right way.
All right. Now we're racking up the scores. So it's 8-1. We're in end 8. Cam's been I guess holding court in this game for a little bit. And as you can see, he's sticking to backhand. It's always backhand. I'm just going to jump this a little bit.
This isn't our best end by the look of things.
Right. So you move the jack a little bit, but Cam and you played a bunch of wide bowls on that side. You've switched hands now. I think you recognized Cam was working really well on that side, and you decided to switch. And obviously it's paying off. I just wanted to go back a bit. So for Cam's shot, you would think that he would continue to play this side, but he doesn't want to. He wants to hit this bowl, touch this bowl, or drag the jack back. Everything is good on this side. That's what my expectation would be. And as you can see, he's playing through because he wants to carry it back.
Unlucky.
He had nothing to fear in the back. If he got it back there, you would have to draw to save one.
Yeah, he definitely made the right shot there, I think.
And didn't work out on that one, but all right, we're now over to N16. It's 17 to 6.
Boy. I'm just gonna make a quick comment here. I remember at this point I was like, yeah, let's just get to 10. Let's just get to 10 because I do not want to get blown out.
Right. Now the comment I wanted to make here is I already said that Cam was playing strictly short ends. When I was watching through and you were doing you got control of the jack every once in a while. Obviously you had 6 points. You only stretched it out to possibly medium or just over medium length, which both of you were playing well, but then it was kind of a toss-up, right? If you got a few bulls, he got a few bulls, who knows who's going to win that end. Now, this is kind of the stage where you've said, it's 17 to 6, I need to do something completely different. This, I would have suggested as a coach, do this a lot sooner, stretch it out to long. Get him completely out of it.
Me thinking back, I feel like I didn't like doing it because if anybody who's ever knows, I do not really enjoy playing long jacks. Like I can,
Yeah.
but my first choice isn't a long jack. So I think what I thought to myself was I'm just going to try and beat him on the short jacks, and obviously at some point I recognize it's not going to work. So
And that can play into your
you can tell
head.
I was getting grumpy too. I took my hat off.
Yeah. So reaching bulls, and I think this is another one too, where you played long and you weren't afraid to reach. And obviously Cam is struggling. 3-1 through, 3-1 short. And you're back to playing the side that works. Not a great bull, but you're holding shot, so it at least gets in Cam's eye. Which it did. And this is where I would say the momentum shift. So you're playing long, and now you're determined to get to 10. Your mindset changed. You actually start to take over the game at this point. So it's 17 to 6. A lot of people would just say, you know what? I'm not going to win this game. It's over. It's only a few points. Let's just go home. I think it's really impressive and a really good lesson, which is why I was glad you wanted to do this video, to show players don't give up. Cam's a good player.
I mean, ever since I've been a little kid, whether it be hockey or bowls or baseball, I always remember my dad always said, if you're up in a game, no mercy. If you're down in the game, never give up, because you never know what's going to happen. You might as well give it your best effort until the game's over.
Now this is where I think this is where it is. So the issue was you actually rolled another short bowl.
Yeah, so I only had one bowl in the head.
Yeah, so for all players, this is an issue when you only have one bowl in the head. Okay. Let's just get rid of that. As you could tell, Cam had no fear of playing it. If he hits the jack back over to this corner here, he's down 1. He's already down 1. Doesn't matter. Okay, so he's going to take the chance to pick that bowl out, move the jack, do whatever, because the odds are in his favor. If he just rubs it a little bit and moves it anywhere over to this side, he's golden, right? He's got 1, he's got 2, maybe 3. If he picks a bowl clean, maybe he's got 1, maybe there's a measure for 2. And if he does shank it over to the right there, where that one bowl is, he was down 1, he's down 1 again, right? So it's all in his favor. For Luke's side, it's an absolute necessity that you either get to the back or to one of those orange bowls to take that away and say, if you hit this jack and it goes the wrong way, you're going to be down 2 instead of 1. Put that danger in the person's mind. As you can see, picks the 1 bowl, gets the 1 point. Right. N22, it's 19-12. And Cam is on the verge of winning, right?
there.
But like you said you wanted to get to 10, you're up to 12. Okay. And we're at N22. Playing a little longer this time, which is good. It's not ultra long, but it's longer. And makes a good bowl. Make a better bowl. And this is what I try to hammer into players all the time. Reaching bowls. You have to be to the jack or behind. Okay? Bowls in front are not going to help you in this situation, especially in Luke's situation where he's down. And in this case, he's reaching, right? He moved the bowl. That would have been a couple feet through if he hadn't hit anything. But you got to give yourself the chance. You got to put the bowl down so that there's something there for you to work with. Now, Cam, you were sitting two. Cam rolled in another good one here.
Yep.
So he's in the middle of these two. So you're probably sitting one at this point. Cam has one ball left. You have one ball left. You're going to bowl position, right?
I mean, assuming the scoreline, if he hits the jack, I lose the game. So I'm probably going to try and roll into the back or make it to the spot because he might throw a bomb, knowing Cam.
Right. So the spot's somewhere out here. You want to be, let's say, in this area here.
I think, just thinking, I'd probably just want to at least beat his back bowl.
Exactly. The goal is to beat the back bowl. The greatest shot in the world would be to land the pin, exactly. And for those that might not know reset rules, jack goes out of bounds. It gets reset 2 meters from the back in the center line. So basically where the mat would go at a minimum. In this kind of a situation, Luke's holding one. Jack goes back. He's down probably the game. So he wants to make the effort to actually put one back there to either save him the game or score one if the jack gets knocked out. Right? Camera work on this. This was early on in Bulls Canada's streaming, so the camera work isn't the greatest. Great bowl, right? It's tucked behind. It beat Cam's bowl. It's near the spot, and Cam is still gonna drive or play weight at least.
And good thing my bowl was back there.
Exactly. And you score one. So lesson to everybody, you always have to be thinking it's not about getting to the jack. It's not about getting a toucher or racking up 2 or 3 points. Okay, take one and run in that situation. You're down game. It's a clutch situation. Luke played that probably the best that he could in that situation.
And you always got in a singles game, and in a final, there's no.
Now it's 1918. Who would have thought that it would be 1918? Okay.
Not me.
But the thing was, you were playing so well through that whole time. So it's understanding that you are playing well, and Cam is just getting those shots in and getting those points.
I know you can't really clip, but I know just watching the whole thing back, just the confidence that you can see in my game is completely different than what it was at the start of the game.
Exactly. I want to just take a look at this. So this is where critical mistakes did cost Luke the game. It's not something that was done on purpose. He hit that first shot, and his bowl was right in front here, where that red dot is, or I'll put a little red X. He came down with the second shot, split it, and moved it to the sides. Really, really unfortunate result. All he wanted to do was get past that bowl to the back, past that bowl to the orange, and leave that one in front. Splitting it to the side now frames it up. If I move it a little bit further, Cam, in his mindset, and if Cam's in the chat, he could tell me if I'm wrong. All he's thinking is play through those 3 targets: bull, jack, bull. There's not a lot of room to get through clean. He may get through clean, which is just an unfortunate issue, but he just wants to move that jack. He doesn't care. Make those 2 bulls disappear, make that jack move back. And as you can see, he does play weight. And that's exactly what he's trying to do, right? Just misses. Got through clean. Now what Luke needs to do is either get to the back or play through, move his bulls, try to change that head a little bit. Unfortunately,
Right over to the side.
Yeah.
This might be a tough one to land on.
Yeah, it's very quick. Okay, so
There we go.
He's added to this side. So in essence, he's just made the target bigger. The ultimate goal is to get back here or to land these. Ideally, you just want to get behind so that if the jack moves and it passes those 2 bulls, you're in a good position. Or split those 2 orange bulls out and just get rid of them in some fashion. But it's very dangerous. It's 1918. Your adrenaline's up. You're wanting to win. And Cam's just going to try again because he just narrowly missed. I mean, nobody's going to blame him for it. Threw it wide. But now you got 3 in the back. That's the game.
Yeah, now I'm going to the back.
Yeah. It's imperative. It is a must. You have to get to the back. Right? And I just want to slow this down a little bit because this is... we'll end it on this one. We don't need to see the very final end. I wanted to just make a note. I tell players to do this all the time, and I was really, really impressed that you did this. Watch what you do before you get on the mat.
Deep breath.
Deep breath, right? You have no idea how much that helps. You take a second and you just take that deep breath in and let it out. Okay, it helps to relax everything and help you with the shot. So I was really, really impressed that you did that. Okay, take your time.
And my delivery.
And unfortunately, you
almost made it to the back.
Right. So it ricocheted, didn't get to where it was supposed to. There's still that pocket of 3 for the game. Anything off to the left and then the back. Just a really, really unfortunate result in that case. And Cam's just going to fire. He's given up on trying to play weight because it didn't help him.
I remember sitting there watching this shot, and this thing was like 3 or 4 feet wide, and I literally said to myself, that's the game. I win. And it hits one of those funny runs, and it came all the way back with that much weight across the green. And I was like, are you kidding me right now?
So I think we've taken plenty of time with that. It was a great game. When I do analysis, and as you saw with my notes, I know that Cam played exclusively short ends. I know that Luke tried to change it halfway through and then started to take control. I think you won 7 or 8 ends in a row once you took control and started to play really well. It wasn't that Cam was playing poorly. It was your bulls were now doing what they were supposed to, and his bulls weren't. Whereas in the first part, it was the opposite. You were both playing fairly well right through, right?
Absolutely.
So with that, that's a little bit of analysis that we did. Didn't want to take up a ton of time. I know we try to keep our shows in a concise amount of time. I just want to say, if there's games that you guys want to see, if there's ends that you want analyzed, if there's shots that you want to understand why a person played that, send it to us. Let us know in the comments. Send us an email, and we will make our best effort to look at that video, do some analysis, and bring it to you guys on the show.
Absolutely. And I guess with that being said, Daryl, we're down to the last end, the final end. I guess it's about that time. Daryl, thanks again for doing this with me. Thanks for all you do for the podcast. I appreciate it. Thanks to and sharing some stories with us and a good little chat. And I guess till next time, Daryl. Hope everyone's safe. And if you can get on the green, I hope you can get some touchers. Thanks, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe and share.
Yeah, in the description. Thanks, guys.
Bye.